So, again, like I said, my father was a lot like this father. He was, on one hand, a very loving man. On the other hand, he was very strict. And it was very confusing as a child when he did hit me with the strap. And, it was just something that I didn't realize at the time what he was going through with cancer and the fears he was going through. And what had happened is I was in first grade, and I always I was very sociable, and my mother didn't want kids at the house, and I wasn't really allowed to go out after school. I was supposed to come straight home. So I learned, and I think maybe this is being a writer, you start when you're really young, just telling stories, okay? So I was going to tell my parents that I had stayed after school for extra help. I had gone to my friend Denise's house. Okay, we're in first grade. I'm 6 years old, all right? I forgot what time it was. She had this basement full of toys. I'm playing with her, and her mother says, "It's time for you to go home. It's dinner time." I'm like, uh-oh. Because my father was home at 5 o'clock. Dinner was on the table, and you better be there. So I started walking back toward the school, trying to think in my 6-year-old mind, what could I tell him? And I still remember him finding me. I was at the school, he was across the street diagonally. He walked across the street and he grabbed hold of me. I know he brought me home. I know he hit me with the strap. At some point in my teen years, I couldn't remember anymore if it really happened. And I was telling somebody about it, and my sister, who's 4 years older, overheard me, and she came downstairs and she said, "Oh, it happened. I remember it happening. He hit you. He could not stop hitting you. When he finally stopped hitting you, he was crying, and there were scars on your back that whole summer." What I know now is that my father at that time had first found out he had cancer. And I was 6 years old, and I didn't come home. And he was so scared. And then he found me and found out I was lying. And he just was so overcome, he didn't stop hitting me. At 6 years old, I didn't understand that. So this is the same man who would sit me on his lap and sing with me through the whole Mitch Miller album, and call me his Korean doll, because for some reason I looked Korean when I was younger. And so it was very confusing. And growing up and having him sick so much of the time also affected our lives. I had an older brother who was in Vietnam, and a lot of the first book, Joe, the older brother, is in Vietnam. And those are my memories of him being gone and being afraid for him. I had another brother 3 years younger than him. My oldest brother was born in 1944. My second brother was born in 1947. They both left home as soon as they could because they had problems with my dad. My sister was born in 1954. I was born in 1958, and my youngest brother was born in 1962. So there's 18 years between my oldest brother and youngest brother, and we were like two separate families.